In today, right now, we are live at Matt Morris TV on Rumble, and we are also live on Matt Morris TV on YouTube. We're live everywhere around the world. Thank you all for tuning in today, guys. We are going live a couple hours ahead of schedule. Normally, we go live at 4 p.m. Western, 7 p.m. Eastern. Today, that means we're going live 3 hours early. Why are we doing that? Well, it's because, folks, today, President Trump, apologies. The title is important. We worked very hard for that title. President Trump is going to be giving a very rare Oval Office national address. Now, as a little bit of a history lesson here, President Trump has only ever given 2 of these. This is his first Oval Office national address of his second term now that he is back in the White House. So the first time he gave an Oval Office address, it was in 2019. And he was talking about COVID. No, I'm sorry, that was the next one. The one in 2019 was discussing there was a government shutdown that was about to happen. And he was also talking about the U.S.-Mexico state of border security. He gave an update about the wall, constructing the wall. That was in 2019, January 2019. Then in March of 2020, then he gave a White House Oval Office national address where he was talking about the COVID pandemic. And he introduced all of these COVID travel restrictions. So this today will be his third ever Oval Office national address. And frankly, to be honest with you guys, we don't even really know what it's about. There's a lot of speculation. If I had to bet money, it seems like there's like a 95, maybe 99% chance that this address here today, coming out of the Oval Office, is going to be regarding Russia, Ukraine, the war in Eastern Europe. It seems like maybe some big breakthrough or development was made in Eastern Europe, maybe peace deal, ceasefire, something. So we're going to kind of break down this entire situation. We're going to spend about a half hour speculating because President Trump doesn't actually go live in the Oval Office for another 27 minutes. So we have some stuff to talk about today. While we wait for the big man himself to come out and address all of us. But as you can see, this is the official White House. This is public. You guys can take a look at this. This is the official White House schedule. So 4:30 p.m. Eastern, the president makes an announcement at the Oval Office, and the White House press pool will be there. It's going to be a big deal. Now, by the way, if you're kind of trying to put together how long is this going to last, well, like I said, he's going to come out in about a half hour. The U.S.-Mexico border security and government shutdown Oval Office conference or national address in 2019, that one was 9 minutes long. And then in March of 2020, his Oval Office national address was 10 minutes long. So this is not going to be a 60 or 90 minute long speech once he gets up here. It's probably going to be short, concise. He's going to let us know whatever he wants to let us know, and then it's going to be the end of the show. Well, from his point of view, then we're going to spend a little while breaking it down and talking about everything, but that's kind of what's on the schedule today. So thank you all very much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like button on the channel. President Trump is going to be making a big announcement today from the Oval Office at 4:30 p.m. I wonder what it could be. Nobody knows what it is. Although, like I said, we have some pretty big speculations, and I'll tell you why everybody is speculating on Russia, Ukraine, peace deal, something. I'll try to break it down here. Donald Trump just posted on Truth Social, this is maybe 2 hours ago at this point, saying that the meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, went very well. This morning, this is like 2, 3, 4 hours ago, Steve Witkoff, Trump's special envoy, is actually in Moscow in Russia. He had a one-on-one personal meeting, which concluded probably 3 or 4 hours ago at this point with the one and only Russian President Vladimir Putin. So talking about peace deal, de-escalation, you know how it goes. Also, guys, keep in mind, President Trump has been threatening some pretty serious big-time sanctions, tariffs on Russia, but not just Russia, on also other countries that are doing business with Russia that are set to go into effect this Friday. Today is Wednesday. I got to check the date. I'm living in my own world. So in 2 days from now, Trump is laying the hammer down on Russia unless we have a peace deal, a ceasefire, a something. But by the way, it's not just laying the hammer down on Russia. It's laying the hammer down, sanctions, tariffs, all types of stuff on countries that are doing business with Russia also. We've seen him lay the hammer down on India. We've seen him lay the hammer down on Brazil, on China. He's going in. He's saying, listen, this is from Trump. Trump is effectively saying, listen, we need peace in Eastern Europe, and I'm going to, at this point, we've given it months and months and months. I'm going to do whatever it takes to bring this war to a conclusion. And so, hey, if you're a country that is still doing business with Russia, if you are subsidizing this, this ongoing conflict in Eastern Europe from the Russian point of view, then we're going to shut you down. So India, let's single out India here for a minute. India has been buying. India has been purchasing all types of energy, oil, LNG, liquefied natural gas from Russia still to this day. And so Trump said, listen, India, we're on good terms. We're supposed to be friends. We're supposed to be allies. But if you keep on buying stuff from Russia, we are tariffing you. We are sanctioning you. And so we're going to take a look at that, the particulars of that dynamic here in probably 15 minutes also. But this is what Trump said 3 or 4 hours ago. My special envoy, Steve Witkoff, just had a highly productive meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Great progress was made. Afterwards, I updated some of our European allies. Everyone agrees this war must come to a close, and we will work towards that in the days and weeks to come. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, we have a big-time super chat. I think it's called a Rumble rant over on Rumble. It's from Silly String Bikini. Nice name. Excellent name. Says, give that puppers a Scooby snack. Bring him on stream if you can. He's magnificent. If you guys really want, if you guys are super nice to me, we have a brand new German Shepherd puppy. He's about 4.5 months old. If you guys are super nice to me today, maybe at some point at the end of the show, I can bring on our puppy. His name is Argos. He's a very good boy. So remind me later on in today's broadcast and we can bring out the puppy. But now let's stick to the news. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Maybe a little bit later. Now, check this out. So I know we're about to play a clip from CNN, so I want to apologize preemptively to everybody tuning in here, but I vetted this. This is an okay little recap here. So right after Steve Witkoff ended his meeting with Vladimir Putin, this is a couple hours ago, we have an on-the-ground CNN reporter telling us what he knows about how this meeting went. So let's take a look at this clip. I think the audio is good. Let's see what he has to say about how this discussion unfolded.
So far, all the information that we're getting is actually coming from the
I feel like he's talking too fast. No, he's fine.
Russian side. You've just mentioned the fact that the meeting between Steve Witkoff and Vladimir Putin ended, I would say, maybe about 45 minutes ago, and Steve Witkoff's motorcade was actually already seen leaving the Kremlin. I'm in the Kremlin area right now. What you see behind me is, of course, St. Basil's Church and the walls of the Kremlin where that meeting took place. Now, senior Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov, who also appeared to be in the room when that meeting took place, at least when Steve Witkoff and Vladimir Putin were greeting each other, Yuri Ushakov was there as well. He came out a couple of minutes ago and he gave some brief remarks about what transpired in that meeting. He said, of course, that the Ukraine crisis, as he put it, was discussed. He said that the Russians had received signals, as they put it, from the Trump administration, from Steve Witkoff, and had in turn also sent signals about Ukraine back towards the Trump administration. So clearly that was a big topic of these talks, but it's unclear whether or not any headway towards a ceasefire was made, which is, of course, what President Trump has been demanding, or whether or not the Russians put something else on the table in the hopes, of course, of maybe staving off these sanctions.
You gotta give a little bit of credit, I guess. This conflict in Eastern Europe, this is just objectively, factually, this is not President Trump's responsibility. It's not on him to bring about peace in Eastern Europe. This is a conflict that really erupted under Biden's leadership, under the NATO leadership. Trump wasn't even here for this, and he has come into office. One of his campaign promises is to bring about peace in Eastern Europe. He doesn't have to. Trump could totally say, you know what, good luck. In fact, you know what? He would even be, as far as I'm concerned, he would be justified in saying, listen, guys, I've given this thing 4, 5, 6 months. I've done my best. I really have tried. Both parties are belligerent here, Ukraine and Russia. Neither of them want to come to the table. sincerely and genuinely work on a peace deal here. So you know what? I have done the best I can do. I'm out. Peace. We're done. And by the way, we're not giving any more money. Trump has really done his best, and he's still trying. It'll be frankly very impressive if Trump is actually able to leverage a peace deal here, because nobody else has been able to do so. Keep in mind, Joe Biden, for the final 2.5 years of his term, not once, this is so 2.5 years of the conflict in Ukraine between Russia and Ukraine, Joe Biden, not once did he ever speak to Putin. Didn't even talk to the guy. How do you think you can negotiate a peace deal? You might hate Putin. You might think he's the worst guy ever. He's terrible. But that being said, if you want to actually bring about a peace deal, you got to get people to come to the table. They've got to come to the table. If nobody's talking, then you're not going to have a deal that's being made.
Sanctions that the Trump administration has been threatening, and possibly also those tariffs that President Trump has been threatening to put on customers of Russian oil and gas. The Russians also saying, this is a narrative that we've heard from them since these talks have been going on, since Steve Witkoff has been coming here to Moscow, that also strategic relations and the improvement of relations between Russia and the United States was also something that was on the table. Of course, one of the interesting things in these talks, Christina, is that Steve Witkoff, when he landed here in Moscow, was essentially picked up by Kirill Dmitriev, who is the head of the Russian Direct Investment Fund and has, for the whole part that these talks have been going on, really been the point person for Steve Witkoff here in Moscow. He was with him, and obviously they had been talking a lot about improving strategic economic relations. But again, President Trump has been saying that his patience is wearing more than thin. You've noted that deadline that he was giving until the end of this week to come to some sort of movement on a ceasefire towards Ukraine, that otherwise there would be consequences for the Russians. Unclear whether or not real headway was made, but certainly.
Now, this is a very, very, very incredibly interesting idea here. Over the last couple months that these Russian, Ukraine, America's involved, NATO's involved, all these negotiations have been unfolding. One thing that we keep hearing over and over again, if you guys have listened carefully, is that Trump, when he's trying to work out a deal with Russia, a peace deal to de-escalate, simmer down, something that he is kind of trying to entice Russia with is, hey, listen, let's de-escalate, shut this down, and what? Russia, we're going to bring you into our economic fold. Russia, you want to have good trade deals with America and NATO? We got to simmer down. We got to de-escalate this. We got to stop the war in Eastern Europe. Listen, Ukraine, you want to have a long-term, productive, very lucrative economic relationship with NATO, the Western European countries, and also the United States of America. Listen, well, we got to shut this down. Is it possible, remember, Trump, deal maker, art of the deal here, is it possible that Trump, in trying to push this deal with Russia to de-escalate in Eastern Europe and Eastern Ukraine, is it possible that Trump is trying to flip Russia away from China? Is it because you guys know, we've talked about this time and time again. Trump properly and correctly recognizes that China is our threat in the 21st century. China, it's only a matter of time. Okay, things might be semi-peaceful now, but I think every intellectual, every single person that's looking about this geopolitical landscape, China is a problem. And you realize that. Let's talk about almost every single component of President Trump's policies so far: geopolitical policy, economic policy, geostrategic policy. Everything Trump is doing is actually targeted against China. He's trying to decouple financially from China. He's trying to bring back Chinese manufacturing back to the U.S. We're trying to become more independent regarding made in America, American manufacturing. This is why Trump is talking about Greenland and Canada and the Panama Canal. As far as Trump is concerned, China is a threat. We need to prepare. And so Trump is taking the first couple initial anti-China steps, the first anti-China steps that really any American leader has taken in decades. China's a problem. We got to decouple. And also we have to isolate them. A lot of Trump's trade deals with NATO, okay, with Latin America, with a lot of the Middle Eastern countries when he was in the Gulf states about 2 months ago, a lot of these deals are saying, hey, listen, you guys also, listen, China's the threat. You guys need to decouple from China also. Okay, so Trump is definitely, obviously trying to kind of isolate China on a global level. Is it possible that Trump is trying to say, listen, Russia, de-escalate here, shut this thing down in Eastern Europe. We're going to bring you into our Western world fold. You can have all the deals you want with the NATO countries, with us here in America, but you have to shut out China. No more deals with China. No more trading with China. No more. Could you, guys, listen, China has almost no domestic energy production. Think about this. Where does China get almost all of its energy? Predominantly from Russia and a little bit from Iran. Okay? Think about this. If Trump was able to say, listen, to work out a deal with Putin and say, listen, guys in Russia, listen, Putin, okay, we're going to bring you into our fold, but you need to stop selling energy to China. That would completely, catastrophically destroy China's economy. Okay? Who knows? So the point is, who knows what type of deals are going on here? Witkoff is over there today making deals. Trump is going to, it's 13 minutes from now. In 13 minutes, President Trump is going to step in the Oval Office and give his third ever Oval Office national address. We got to see what he's talking about. We don't know yet. People are speculating. Now, Zelensky chimed in. This is about 90 minutes ago. He said, Zelensky just said Russia seems more inclined to a ceasefire with Ukraine amid Putin's meeting with Trump special envoy Steve Witkoff. So Zelensky came out 90 minutes, 2 hours ago. Zelensky said, hey, it seems like Russia, after having met with Trump special envoy Steve Witkoff, it seems to me, Zelensky, that Putin, Russia is now more likely to have a ceasefire. Wow, could we really be getting there? President Trump's pressure on Russia seems to be moving things in the right direction. This is, if you want word for word, this is what Zelensky posted on his own official Twitter account earlier today. This is, 3 hours ago. 2 hours and 45 minutes ago. He said, right on my way from our brigades here in Sumy region, I spoke with President Trump. There he is on the phone on his iPhone 14. I've got the same iPhone. This conversation happened after President Trump's representative Steve Witkoff visited Moscow. Our joint position with our partners is absolutely clear. The war must end, and it must be done honestly. European leaders were on the call, and I am grateful to each of them for their support. We discussed what was spelled out in Moscow. Ukraine will definitely defend its independence. We all need a lasting, reliable peace. Russia must end the war that it itself started. Thank you to everyone who stands with Ukraine. Okay, well, Zelensky is seeming, as of 90 minutes ago, more optimistic than he was before Witkoff had met with Putin earlier this morning. So, once again, guys, the reason why we're talking about all of this Russia stuff right now is because Trump, in 11 minutes, is about to step into the Oval Office, go live, and give his third ever Oval Office national address. So, once again, we don't know exactly what he's going to talk about. He might be talking about stuff that is, frankly, totally unrelated to Russia altogether. But it seems like this is going to be about Russia. It seems like what Trump is going to talk about today has to do with Russia. So we are kind of on standby. We are kind of waiting to see what the deal is. I wanted to show you guys a video clip today. Make sure my headset is flipped on here. And once again, if you guys are tuning in either on Rumble or either on YouTube, please go ahead and make sure to subscribe and to like today's broadcast. It helps a lot. We were talking about India, how India has proven to be belligerent. Trump has said, listen, India, we like you. Okay, we don't want to hate you, but you can't keep, economically propping up Russia. I'm trying to shut down this war, and you guys are giving Russia a ton of money. So I'm going to play the clip here. This is talking about Trump's new tariffs on India.
With India, what people don't like to say about India, they're the highest tariff nation. They have the highest tariff of anybody. We do very, very little business with India because their tariffs are so high. So India has not been a good trading partner because they do a lot of business with us, but we don't do business with them. So we settled on 25%, but I think I'm going to raise that very substantially over the next 24 hours because they're buying Russian oil, they're fueling the war machine, and if they're going to do that, then I'm not going to be happy. With India,
if they're going to do that, I'm not going to be happy. Now, India, for about a month now, has already had a 25% tariff slapped on them maybe 2 or 3 weeks. They've had to deal with this 25% tariff. Trump, this is yesterday morning, Trump said, you know what? We're going to double it. No longer is it a 25% tariff. Now it is a 50% tariff. And the only way that they will be able to get rid of that 50% tariff is if they stop doing business with Russia. They've got to stop buying Russian energy. So this is Trump's approach. Once again, he's trying to isolate Russia, to box Russia off, to convince them to shut down the war effort. Okay, that's his plan right now. Trump is coming out in front of all of us in about 9 minutes, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I'm gonna actually try to find this White House stream. Presumably they are going live here on YouTube here in a minute. White House. They should be going live here any minute now. Well, I don't see that they are live yet. This is the official White House YouTube channel. So, hey, pretty soon. Go ahead and pause that video. Okay, soon enough. So, there was an article here I wanted to read through with you guys about this meeting between envoy Steve Witkoff and Putin that gives a little bit more information here. I think it's going to be good to read through this because, like I said, I think probably what we are talking about today with this Oval Office address has to do with Russia. With sanctions looming, President Trump's envoy to Russia meets with Putin. The envoy, Steve Witkoff, passed along, quote, signals from President Trump, according to an aide to President Vladimir Putin, that Mr. Witkoff was making his 5th visit to Russia this year. It's his 5th time. This guy's been all over the place. He's trying to work out these deals. Okay, Steve Witkoff. Maybe I should move my camera up there. That's probably the way to have this. Steve Witkoff, an envoy for President Trump, met with President Vladimir Putin of Russia for the 5th time this year on Wednesday. That's this morning, a couple hours ago, holding talks with Putin that Mr. Trump had described as pivotal in determining whether or not the United States goes ahead with new sanctions against Russia that are set to go into effect this Friday. Also, I see a massive super chat. Grizzly Glint says, welcome to North Idaho, Matt. Glad to have you here. We are moving to North Idaho in a couple weeks. We're not there yet, but we will be there in a couple weeks. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Russian news agencies said the meeting lasted about 3 hours, but there was little intermediate clarity about how it went. Yuri Ushakov, Mr. Putin's foreign policy advisor, called the meeting, quote, very useful and constructive. Mr. Trump, in a post on social media, called it, quote, highly productive. So the Russians are saying this was highly productive. President Trump himself is saying this is highly productive. Also, guys, this is a New York Times article, and they keep calling him Mr. Trump. Hey, his name is not Mr. Trump. His name is President Trump. You got to put some respect with the title. He's the president. He's not some Mr. I am Mr. Morse. Okay. Listen, he's the president. Even if you hate the guy, he is the president. Call him President Trump. President Trump, on a post on social media, called it a highly productive conversation and added, great progress was made, said President Trump. A few hours after the meeting's end, Mr. Trump announced that he would increase tariffs on India to 50%. Massive, describing the move as a penalty for purchasing Russian oil. Mr. Trump also ordered his administration to determine whether other countries are importing Russian oil and recommending whether they should face similar tariffs. So you guys might remember about a week ago, maybe a little bit over, the United States worked out this brand new trade deal with the European Union. What was one detail of this European Union trade deal with the United States of America? One detail of this European trade deal was that they were going to stop spending their money, European money, on Russian energy. You guys might not know this. This is a little known fact because the left-wing media does not like to talk about this. In 2023 and 2024, the European Union spent more money on Russian energy than they spent on money supporting Ukraine. I want you to think about how absurd that is, because from the European Union, we're being told Russia is this existential threat. Russia's going to invade all of Europe. We have to stop Russia and Ukraine. We got to shut it down. Everybody, come on. We got to shut down Russia. We got to stop them in Ukraine now. It's a big problem. So they're giving all this money to Ukraine to fund this Ukrainian war effort, but in the same time, they're actually giving even more money to Russia because they're so addicted to Russian energy. So it's like, it's just absolute peak incompetence. It's just the stupidest thing ever. And so Trump said, listen, hey, idiots, guys, you need to stop giving so much money to, I understand you need energy. Okay. You have energy concerns. So you're going to stop buying energy from Russia now. We're shutting that down. And instead you're going to start buying energy from where? America. You heard, as a part of this European-US trade deal, there was a $750 billion energy commitment. This is the European Union is going to spend over the next couple of years, $750 billion on energy from America. Okay, so once again, Trump is trying to box off and isolate Russia in order to bring this war to a close. We're seeing this with India, China, and we're also seeing this with the European Union trade deal about a week ago. And now, Trump, look, this is very important. It says President Trump is also ordering his administration to determine whether other countries are importing Russian oil. And if they are, he's going to recommend that they get tariffed also. We have an advertisement, a mid-article advertisement. It's 2025. There has to be an obese black woman in every single advertisement everywhere. So, hey, this is Tenia. Hey, I'm Tenia. Thank you, Tenia. Anyway, moving on. There always has to be one of them. Okay, moving on. Mr. Trump said on Tuesday that depending on the results of Mr. Witkoff's meeting, the United States could impose new sanctions on Russia and also countries that buy fossil fuels from Russia. A White House official who was not authorized to speak publicly about the meeting said Mr. Trump's timetable was unchanged and the secondary sanctions he has threatened were still expected to be implemented on Friday. So this is what we're hearing. It was a good meeting. It was a productive meeting between Russia and the U.S. this morning, but that the meeting was not so, it was good. It was productive. Everybody's happy, but not good enough to cancel these tariffs and sanctions. Now, guys, we have 2 minutes until President Trump is set to go live here in the Oval Office. I'm looking at the official White House page, and I'm like, where is the live stream? Where's the live stream? Oval Office. I'm going to try to find this. I see Forbes. There's me. I'm going to take a look at the Forbes breaking news live stream. President Trump delivers remarks. Okay, so this is probably what we are going to want to take a look at. So I'm going to keep this up on my screen here. Any minute, guys. Any minute now. But also, while we have that open, I'm going to get rid of the chat. Today is one of those live streams where we just kind of shoot from the hip a little bit, guys. So bear with me. I appreciate it. I'm going to go try to open up another. Maybe I can find another one here. Normally, broadcasts like this, they do conduct these on the official White House page. So we're going to keep tabs on this. We're going to see what's happening. But until then, we are on Trump's time. Of course, they said it's going to be 4:30 Eastern. Listen, really, it's going to happen whenever Trump is ready. So they might be 5 minutes late. They might be 10 minutes late. We got to see. I'm not exactly sure. But once again, shout out to the Rumble chat. Everybody on Rumble tuning in today. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are now on Rumble. Guys, here is my plan. I want to give you guys a little bit of a community update here. My plan is to be live streaming every single day in the afternoon, approximately 4 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Western, 7 p.m. Eastern, around that time frame every day of the week, 7 days a week. Today we're going live a little bit early because why? Because Trump is doing this Oval Office national address, but most days, I think 7 days a week, we're going to be here both on Rumble and on YouTube, Matt Morse TV on both places. So thank you guys for tuning in. Really, it's a special day because like I said, guys, this will be President Trump's third. It's only his third one. This is his third Oval Office national address. The first national address of his was in January of 2019. During his first term, he was talking about there was a government shutdown, and he was giving an update on the border wall. They were building the wall. border security. And then he had his second national address in March of 2020, once again during his first term. And he was talking about the COVID pandemic and COVID travel restrictions, etc. So this is his third Oval Office national address. It's going to go live any minute here. And it is also his first Oval Office national address of his second presidential term. So we got to see, listen, presidents normally only do this if they have something big to talk about. So I'm going to show you guys the official White House schedule again here today. It says here 4:30 p.m. Eastern. That is 1 minute ago. President Trump is going to say something. We're not sure exactly what. Also, of course, we've spent the last half hour talking about all of this Russian stuff, Russian peace deals. Love it. Love to see it. We must acknowledge this Oval Office address might actually have nothing to do with Russia whatsoever. Okay, we are speculating. Pretty much everybody is speculating that today's Oval Office address is going to be about Russia, but it might not be. So I think now, maybe while we wait, maybe we can kind of go over, we can hang out, we can talk about what else conceivably could this Oval Office address be about? What might it be about? We saw that maybe he's going to be federalizing Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., it's a territory. It's not a state. It doesn't have a governor. And Washington, D.C. has just, it's been getting insanely violent. You have all types of hoodlums, urban youth running around, attacking people, assaulting women. Actually, yesterday, the story broke. This was heartbreaking. You guys might remember the character, the young man, his name is Big Balls. He was working at the Department of Government Efficiency. He still is. The Department of Government Efficiency is still around, by the way. They're still plugging away. Big Balls, young man, probably 20 or 21 years old. He was in D.C. the other day, and he saw a group of 8 young urban youth hoodlums attacking a woman. They were attacking a woman, and Big Balls decided to physically get involved. He said, hey, listen, leave that woman alone. He got involved, tried to break up the fight, and he had the living hell beat out of him. There's a photo. I'm not going to show it right now because we're on YouTube and Rumble. I don't know about the terms of service. But anyway, there's a picture of Big Balls just covered in blood. He would say, thank God he's alive. He was just drenched in blood from head to toe. He had like I said, he had the living hell beat out of him because he tried to stick up for this woman who was being assaulted on the side of the road in Washington, D.C. And President Trump was tweeting about that. He wasn't happy about that. Elon Musk said, listen, federalize Washington, D.C. President Trump said, listen, I'm thinking about federalizing Washington, D.C. What does that mean? It means President Trump is like effectively the dictator of Washington, D.C. Really pragmatically, that's what that means. But it means listen, right now there's a progressive Democrat leadership. There's a progressive mayor in charge of D.C. Listen, he's going to say, you can't handle the job. We are federalizing it. I am now the dictator of Washington, D.C. We are bringing justice and peace back to the streets. And honestly, he should. The place is a hellhole. So honestly, he should. We got to do it in the name of Big Balls. Big Balls got brutalized the other day. There's nothing worse than having your big balls get brutalized. You don't want that. Okay, I think, take it from me, I think everybody has been there at least once in their life. I don't know, it's not good. So President Trump, federalize it. We need justice. We need law. We need order. We need peace on the streets. Okay? So it could be about the federalization of D.C. Also, another thing that he could talk about today during his Oval Office address, he could talk about the Epstein stuff. He could say, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I've heard your complaints. I know that people are dissatisfied. I know that people want more information. Okay, here it is. Boom, Epstein. Here are the Epstein files. I don't know. I wouldn't bet money on that, but you never know. Right now, we don't know exactly what this is going to be about. What we do know is that President Trump is late. President Trump is late. I'm going to the official whitehouse.gov page. Anything to see here? President Trump is late. The entire world is waiting to see what he has to say. I want to remind everybody, an Oval Office address like this will be his third Oval Office address ever. This is a big deal. He doesn't do these every day. He's going to give a little speech. Normally, these addresses, these Oval Office addresses, they last 9-10 minutes long. This is his third one, like I said. the first one of his second term now that he's back in the White House. So I think today it's going to be short, to the point, sweet, concise. It's going to be it's going to be more of a prepared speech. What is it going to be about? Russia? Probably. I think we have pretty good reason to believe that. It could be about the Epstein stuff. It could be about the federalization of Washington, D.C. The violence on the streets is just really insane and disgusting. No American city should look like that, not even D.C. So could be about the D.C. thing. Could be about what else? What else could it be about? I don't know. I'm not sure. There's a lot of stuff people are talking about these days. I see in the Rumble chat somebody says, Trump is never late. Trump arrives exactly when he means to. That sounds like an old Chuck Norris joke. Remember the year is like 2005 and everybody's telling these Chuck Norris jokes. The old Chuck Norris jokes. Yeah, that sounds like a Chuck Norris joke. Anyway, Trump is going to keep the peace until Jesus returns. Yeah, I mean, sounds good to me. It sounds like a plan to me. Yeah, I hope so. Somebody's got to keep the peace. Somebody's got to keep the peace. Monkey Farm is in the, hey, brother, how you doing? Setting up the gallows on the White House lawn. Oh, you know what? You know what he might be talking about today? He could be, oh, it's a Lord of the Rings reference. Okay, there you go. There you go. Listen, another thing that he could be talking about today is what? It's the Obama Gate scandal. He could be talking about how the Democrats, the deep state, the Obama himself and his senior ranking members of his intelligence community, they fabricated this whole Russian collusion hoax with the Steele dossier. Hillary Clinton funded it. The DNC funded it. Could you imagine if President Trump comes out today and says, listen, I am issuing an arrest warrant for Hillary Clinton and James Comey and Clapper and Brennan and screw it, Barack Hussein Obama, arrest warrants for everybody and everybody else that was involved. Arrest warrant, hunt them down, put them in a prison cell. It could be something, I don't know. Now we're getting a little bit crazy. We're getting a little bit hyperbolic here, but we don't know. We don't know. And we have time to kill. So we're taking a look. It could be about the Federal Reserve. It could be about firing Jerome Powell at the Federal. I don't think so. I doubt it, but it could be. Last I checked, I want to say that, let me actually give you the exact date here. Jerome Powell has less than a year left as the chairman of the Federal Reserve. So it's like, yeah, Trump could fire him probably. I think it's within his right to do that, but he's going to be gone anyway within less than a year. Let me give you the exact date. When does Jerome Powell's term come to an end? It is less than a year, but I want the exact date. May 15th, 2026. May 15th, 2026. So he could get rid of Jerome Powell. He could come out and say, listen, guys, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of America, we're going to get rid of Jerome Powell. Could be. I kind of doubt that. But I want to say I appreciate you guys during these broadcasts where we go live a little bit early and we're waiting for President Trump to come out. Or in the past, we've done this while we wait for his press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, to come out sometimes and talk. I appreciate the patience you guys have because sometimes they say we're going live at this time. We're going live at 4:30 Eastern. They get a little bit loose with that. Sometimes it's actually 5 Eastern. Sometimes they're a half hour behind schedule. So right now, Trump is probably in the White House doing his hair, putting on his makeup, whatever he does. I don't know, brushing his teeth, getting his speech ready, whatever he has to do. But soon they're coming out. Soon he's coming out. Oval Office address any minute now. Now, have they gone live on the official White House page yet? No, they have not. No, they have not. So what are they doing? So on the official White House YouTube channel, they've been uploading a bunch of these, what would you call it? Like short little YouTube biographies almost of famous historical Americans. That seems like what they're doing. Cool, I guess. Seems like nobody's really watching them, but okay, cool anyway. Yeah, here's another. You guys want to get crazy with what they're announcing today? They could come out. It could be a total disclosure of alien technology. Ladies and gentlemen of the country, it's President Trump here. Today we are announcing that we have been in contact with the aliens, with the green skin aliens from Pluto or Mars or whatever. And Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm not really an alien guy. Honestly, I don't really care about aliens. I know it's one of these big conspiracy theories, but I've just never really been that into aliens, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm boring. Are you also live streaming on X? I am not. Good question. I am not live streaming on X. Maybe it's something I've thought about. Maybe I will. I guess I can, but I don't do it yet, but maybe I will someday. Maybe. It's a maybe. Another thing here, imagine if Trump came out and said, as I speak to the American people, Obama, Hillary, and Biden are being arrested right this very... Even better yet, imagine he brings them out in the Oval Office. Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, welcome back to the Oval Office. And they're in like handcuffs. That would be crazy. I don't want to get too excited, but that would be crazy. It's probably not what is going to happen here. Could be the case. Could be the case, but probably not. Who knows? Lizard people could be the lizard people. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we've made contact with the lizard people living in the inner earth, living deep in Agartha, the inner earth, where the ground is the sky and the sky is the ground. And the lizard people, they have a message. What's the message? Peace on earth, people. Peace on earth. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, who the hell knows? I am also not exactly into the lizard people. I'm not a lizard person type of guy. So I would guess it's not the lizard people today. Probably not. Probably not. Oh, hey, you know what? Here's another thing. It could be a peace deal between Israel and Gaza. That could be the case also. You know, there are like 5 or 6 or 7 or maybe more kind of pressing topics here that, you know, they're unfolding day by day. We got to see what it could be. It could be just another round of hyper-aggressive tariffs. Trump could come out. We saw him say this with India today, this morning. He said, listen, India, we've had a 25% tariff on India. Guess what? We're doubling it. Now it's 50% tariffs on India because they are still doing business with Russia. So we're doubling the tariffs. He could come out and say, listen, now it's China, now it's Kazakhstan, now it's Iran, now it's Brazil, now it's everybody. It's every single country in the world that is continuing to do any business at all with Russia. We're shutting you down. We're cutting you off. The payment processing systems, SWIFT is what it's called. All of it could be. Who knows? Who knows? But right now, I'm looking at Rumble. We have 1,000 people in Rumble, in the Rumble live chat. Shout out the Rumble guys. Matt Morris TV on Rumble. We've got over 8,000 people here on YouTube. Shout out the YouTube audience. We've got almost 10,000 people waiting. We're on the edge of our seat. Trump, let's go. Come on out. President Trump, come on out, please. Everybody is waiting right now. Thank you. Thank you very much. Still, though, the official White House page is not live. And I want to show you guys here. Take a look at this. This is the official White House schedule. They publish this every day. There. Okay, so this is Wednesday. I was looking at Tuesday. I was like, wait a minute, where'd it go? Tuesday. Today is Wednesday. 4:30 p.m. East Coast. The president makes an announcement. Oval Office. White House press pool. That's the media, the White House media. They're going to be there. Maybe we'll have some questions at the end of this. But right now we are 14 minutes late, technically speaking. So any minute now, he's going to come on out. What do you think? What do you think Tanya thinks about this? What do you think Tanya has to say about this today? I need to know what Tanya has to say. Maybe Tanya is going to be there. Maybe Tanya will be the special guest in the Oval Office today. Maybe Tanya will give her thoughts on what's going on in Gaza and going on in Ukraine and with the aliens. Maybe Tanya is an alien herself. I don't know. Her hair is a little bit crazy. Okay, so anyway, guys, listen, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I am doing my best to stall here. I'm trying to, you guys have to give me credit, okay? But I'm running out of material. Come on, President Trump, come on. I'm running out of stuff to talk about. Anyway, nice weather we're having. It's a beautiful day. Nice weather. I hope everybody's family is doing well today. Football season or some, I don't know. I don't watch football, but anyway, football season is maybe coming back. I don't know about that a whole lot. I don't know. Epstein. Listen, we talked about that. President Trump could come out today during this Oval Office national address. This could be about Epstein. if I had to bet, I would bet not, but it could be. If I was in Vegas right now and I had to place a bet on what we're going to be talking about today, I would bet it's going to be about Russia and Ukraine and the conflict in Eastern Europe. But that's just like my opinion, dude. It could be one of 10 different things, so we got to wait and see. Sometimes I see these comments on my YouTube videos and people say, "Oh, are you AI? You're an AI. Are you AI?" Have you guys seen those comments? In fact, maybe some of you used to think this also. Are you AI? I like this channel, but I'm not going to watch an AI. Listen, guys, I'm not AI. I'm a real human being. I have a wife, I have kids, I have a dog, I have a real life. In fact, while we are stalling here, I want to show you guys a very lovely photo. Take a look at this. This is yesterday afternoon. It was a beautiful sunny August day. I took my wife and my kids. I like to spend a lot of time in the woods. Just about every day we go hiking in the woods. So here are my two beautiful blonde-haired kids walking around the woods. It was a great day. But anyway, President Trump is going to come out here pretty soon. And he's going to address the nation. And he's going to give us some information about something. I don't know about what exactly. Nobody knows about what exactly. But here any minute, he's going to come on out. So that's what everybody is waiting for. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Is your wife AI? No, my wife is not AI. My wife is an immigrant, actually. You guys think I just hate all. You guys watch my videos. You say, oh, man, this guy hates everybody. He hates immigrants. He hates everybody. Listen, my wife is an immigrant, but my wife is from Germany. My wife is a beautiful German woman. And she came in the country legally. She's from Germany. She speaks English. And she entered the country legally. Okay, so it's a little bit different. It's different. We like our good immigrants, not the bad ones. Now, we have a massive super chat here. This is from West Texas. He says, Matt, it could also be about the stimulus. Maybe we're getting some of the tariff money back. Who knows? But aliens crack me up, pouring me a drink. Thanks for the laugh. We come in peace. Thank you. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it could be some type of tariff-funded taxpayer rebate. That's something that President Trump has talked about a little bit. You're right. Could be. It could be. Thank you very much. I appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much. We have another one here. Oh, it was the same one twice. Well, hey, thank you 2 times. I appreciate that 2 times. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Also, the cheese. Here's another super chat. Did you see the report that Ghislaine Maxwell, cleared Trump during her interview with Blanche? Yeah, so allegedly, this is what came out today, is that when Maxwell was meeting with the DOJ, she met with them 4 hours one day, 4 hours another day, 8 hours total. She answered all the questions. That's what we've heard, is that during her interviews with the DOJ, this took place last week, she said that she never saw Trump do anything bad at all. She said that Trump never did anything bad with Epstein, that Trump is not criminally implicated in any way whatsoever. This is from Maxwell. Now, you guys know, okay, I'm a Trump guy. I like Trump. Let me tell you something, though. I need to be honest. Is Maxwell the most trustworthy person in the world? I think we need to take what she is saying with a grain of salt. Now, my opinion. I also believe Trump is not criminally implicated. I've said that a million times. I think Trump is innocent of any of this Epstein wrongdoing stuff. Do I wish this entire scandal had been handled differently? Yes. But I do not think Trump is criminally implicated. At the same time, I'm honest enough to acknowledge Maxwell is not the most trustworthy person in the world. Okay. So, we need to, I guess, reserve judgment here. Who knows? But no, the Epstein case is still ongoing. It is. It absolutely is. And so, like we've said a couple times here, we might be hearing about the Epstein stuff today. That could be the central topic of today's Oval Office address. That could be what he's talking about today. We're going to find out. But we're only going to find out if Trump actually comes out here and talks to us. So, yeah. So is that going to happen? So is this whole thing happening or not? I don't see it happening at all. I'm going to take a look here. Maybe they're going live on Twitter. She might be Mossad. I would not be surprised at all if Ghislaine Maxwell was Mossad or was Mossad at one point or is at least in some way associated or affiliated with Mossad. Her dad, Robert Maxwell, was he was a member of Mossad. He was a Mossad super spy. He was very involved for decades with Mossad. Maxwell is the daughter of the Robert Maxwell Mossad super spy. So, connect the dots. It would not exactly be that surprising, but I guess we don't know for a fact. A lot of people say that Epstein was probably working with Mossad. Twitter. This is what I was going to look at. White House. So, folks, if you were tuning in right now, we are waiting for President Trump to give his third ever Oval Office national address. He's only ever given 2 of these, and both of them were during his first term in the White House. In January of 2019, Trump gave his first Oval Office address. He was talking about there was a government shutdown, and he also talked a little bit about border security. That was in January of 2019. In March of 2020, President Trump gave his second Oval Office national address, where he talked about the COVID pandemic and the COVID pandemic travel restrictions. So this will be his third ever Oval Office national address. And frankly, like we've been saying, we don't actually even know what he's going to be talking about. What is he going to be talking about? We don't actually know. So we're waiting. We got to wait and see, folks. And once again, guys, we are live right now on Rumble at Matt Morse TV. And also we are live right now on YouTube at Matt Morse TV. We're live everywhere. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. I appreciate that. Get the puppy. Really? Okay. We are waiting here. If you guys can bear with me, I will go get the puppy. If you give me one moment, I will go get the puppy. Thank you all very much. Stand by. Real quick puppy action. One moment, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is his name. He is the very cute, handsome, really smart young man. His name is Argos, and he's learning how to sit. He's learning how to stay. He knows it all. He's learning how to not bite people, how to not nibble people. He's a very, okay, thank you. He's a very cute young puppy. He's about 4.5 months old. Look, he's a handsome young man. You can't deny that. All right, okay. I'm going to send him back out of here because I do want to keep the focus on the news today, okay? There you go. Okay. Ugh. Somebody the other day in one of the comments said, I think Matt is probably obese. There's a reason why we never see anything from the neck down. It's because Matt doesn't want us to know he's obese. Matt Morris, he's probably fat. Listen, I'm not. I'm maybe I have a little bit of, extra chub. Maybe, I don't know. I could probably lose 5 pounds. But that's probably true for everybody. Hey, I'm not fat. Hey, I'm not obese. I'm not. I swear. But yeah, I could probably lose 5 pounds. Okay, I'm not going to lie about that. The dog was AI. Yeah. That was my AI dog. This is my AI office. I'm an AI man. That was my AI dog. You guys saw my AI kids. This is AI Donald Trump. And this is my AI hat. Everything. This is my AI can of sparkling water. And that's what it's about. Guys, I'm actually getting a little bit of a breaking news update here. It says that right now we are actually expecting this Oval Office address to relate to a massive manufacturing plan that President Trump is going to be announcing here any minute. So I'm going to actually see if I can find any updates for you guys about this. Let me see here. I want to find some news about that. A massive manufacturing plant. Now, of course, this is news that came out. Need to mute this here. Guys, browsing news websites in the year 2025 is like it's the most painful experience ever. You have pop-ups, it's pop-ups, you got to subscribe, enter your email address. You have the videos automatically playing, it's blasting out your ears. It's too loud. Browsing news websites is the worst thing ever. Anyway, so this is news that got announced a couple hours ago. I didn't think it was going to be about this, but it could be about this. President Trump a couple hours ago announced a $100 billion domestic manufacturing deal with Apple. President Trump on Wednesday morning will formally announce a deal with Apple to invest $100 billion in manufacturing in the United States, an effort to increase domestic production and to avoid tariffs. So if you guys have been paying attention, Apple, this has been really funny, frankly. Apple for decades now has been manufacturing almost all of their goods in China, while President Trump smacked down a bunch of tariffs on China. You know the first thing Apple did? They said, all right, we're going to India. So Apple tried to relocate from China to India. You know what Trump then did? For other reasons, but it's just incidentally, Trump laid down a bunch of tariffs on India. And so now it seems like Apple is like, crap. They were heavily invested in China. They tried to pivot and reinvest in India. And now India is shot also because Trump has now this 50% tariff coming out of India as of this morning. And so Apple has said, all right, we surrender. Okay, we're finally going to invest in the United States. Okay. The announcement is expected to include the launch of the American Manufacturing Program. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything here. Nope, nothing yet. The American Manufacturing Program, which would be dedicated to bringing more of Apple's supply chain to the United States and involves the tech giant incentivizing other companies to manufacture more critical components domestically as well. So keep in mind, like a product like your iPhone here, you know, not every little individual component that goes into an iPhone, something as complex as an iPhone, not all of that stuff is manufactured by Apple. They source a lot of their parts from other smaller, less famous, less notable companies, and then they put it all together, right? And so it seems like a key component of this deal is Trump is saying, listen, Apple, we don't want just you to come back to the US. We want all of your little supplemental companies that you're sourcing parts from to also come back to the US. Okay, good. I mean, that should happen. This is something that is good for the country. Okay, great. Now, is this going to be the big breaking news of the Oval Office update that we are all on the edge of our seat waiting for right now? I had speculated not. I had guessed not. I suppose it could be, but I still kind of don't think this is what this is about. But we'll keep reading here. I mean, we're waiting. Today's announcement with Apple is another win for our manufacturing industry that will simultaneously help reshore the production of critical components to America to protect America's economic and national security, White House spokesperson Taylor Rogers said in a statement. The event from the Oval Office is expected to begin at 4:30. Okay, well, I get, according to The Hill, this is the event of the day. This is the Oval Office thing. So we are still waiting. We're going to see, really, I guess still nobody knows exactly for sure. Trump is 29 minutes behind schedule here. But as we know, listen, Trump is not on our schedule. We are on his schedule. So we are waiting. Today, patience is a virtue. And I do just want to say thank you, everybody, one more time for tuning in. Shout out. We have a beautiful Rumble audience. We have a great, handsome, beautiful YouTube live audience. Thank you guys very much for tuning in today. Everybody, once again, make sure to subscribe and make sure to like today's video. Rumble, YouTube, subscribe everywhere. Thank you, guys. You know, this is something, while we wait, I guess I'll be a little bit shameless here. This is something I'm very bad at. I need to keep on promoting my Twitter account. If you guys could do me a favor and follow on Twitter, that would help a ton. Matt Morse TV on X or Twitter. It means a lot. It goes a long way. It really does help. Twitter or X is really the best place for you guys to keep up to speed with what's going on. If I'm going to miss a day, if we're going live early like today, Twitter really is where all that information is, what's going on. So Twitter. There's that in the Rumble chat. Thank you guys very much. Thank you very much. I see this comment. It says, Matt loves India. Yesterday, I made a tweet. It said, India is gross. And listen, you can't blame me. India is kind of gross. No offense, but like there's garbage everywhere. You have cows walking around, pooping on the side of the road. Let's put it this way. I would rather live in America. I'm happy living here in the United States. I don't really ever need to visit India. I don't need to go to India. I'm comfortable. I feel like I can smell the pictures. I look at a picture of India, I take a smell and I say, man, that's enough. That's enough for me. I'm satisfied. So I don't really need to go to India. I'm happy here. Anyway, here's what I'm thinking. Okay. Here's what I'm thinking. We need Donald Trump to come out. We need Donald Trump to come out and talk about what is going on today. Donald Trump, the entire world is waiting. We are on the edge of our seat. What is going on here? Any minute now. We have 10 different theories about, people are speculating what this is going to be about today, but we actually, frankly, we don't really know for sure. We don't really know for sure. Somebody says Argos is the name of Odysseus's dog in the Odyssey. You're right. That is, in fact, the name Argos is the oldest recorded pet dog name in all of Western history. In all of Western history, recorded Western history, going back to the ancient Greeks. Argos is the oldest recorded dog name ever. So, hey, it's a good name. It's a nice name. And he's definitely a cute little boy. He's a cute puppy. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you were tuning in, we're on the edge of our seat to see, listen, Donald Trump, you got to come out and let us know what is going on here. Here, you know what we can do right now? Why don't we go to the rapid response page? Maybe we have some kind of tangential news. What is going on today? Oh, take a look at this. Need to turn my headset back on here. It turns off randomly every so often. Okay. So this is the Council of Economic Affairs, Council of Economic Advice, Steve Mirren, the chair, Steve Mirren, he's talking about this $100 billion economic deal with Apple that maybe we're going to be talking about today. Take a listen.
What we're seeing so far is a renewed commitment to investing in America and improving the resilience of American production and the self-sufficiency of the American economy, which is a great thing, both from a jobs perspective and also from a national security perspective. So more commitments like this from Apple and from other companies is definitely a good thing for America.
Got to bring it back home. I mean, guys, we all saw this was in early 2020, 2021 also. What happened? Because America has been so dependent on foreign manufacturing, predominantly Chinese manufacturing. What happened when there was a global pandemic? What happened? Well, what happened was China said, listen, everybody wants all of this personal protective COVID stuff. You want masks, you want hazmat suits, you want respirators, you want all this stuff, you want whatever. Well, we're not going to sell it to you. Sorry. They pretty much said, go screw yourself. When push came to shove, when the global pandemic was taken over, COVID, early days of COVID, China said, listen, China first. They said, listen, we're going to put China first. We're going to take care of our own people. And if that means that all of you guys over there in America, you don't have masks, you don't have this or that or this, well, that's too bad. Stupid Americans, stupid Europeans. And so we have a very recent example of the direct way in which our heavy reliance on Chinese manufacturing is legitimately a national security threat. This was a pandemic, and thank God it wasn't as bad as a lot of people thought it was going to be. But imagine there was a war. Imagine there was a war and China was on one side and America was on this side, and we are now at odds with each other. And China says, listen, screw you guys. We're not selling you anything anymore. Sorry. We're not going to sell you whatever you want. And so you can see very, very quickly how this can deteriorate and how it can go very badly for America. We just saw it a couple years ago. We have a very clear example. Now, this is Marco Rubio talking about Witkoff, who went over to Russia today, the peace talks. Let's take a look.
Well, Steve went over to Moscow yesterday, Steve Witkoff, Ambassador Witkoff, and had a productive meeting in terms of what was discussed, the details that perhaps hadn't been shared before in terms of some ideas about how to bring this war to an end. Let's remind everybody that's the goal here. The president wants to end the war. Yep. So it was productive in that sense. We now have to continue to make progress. The president, after getting that update today, convened several leaders from Europe, updated them on what happened in the talks. We're going to be having talks with our European allies and the Ukrainians as well over the next couple of days, just to see what progress we can make on that side of it. And then hopefully, if things continue to progress, an opportunity will present itself very soon for the president to meet both with Vladimir Putin and with President Zelensky at some point here, hopefully in the near future. But obviously, a lot has to happen before that can occur. But I've always said this, that I think for the deal, if there's going to be a deal to end this war, it'll have to require the president to come in at the end and close on it, as I've seen him do numerous times now on trade deals, as an example. So we got to get close enough to that point so that a meeting like that will be productive and worth doing. Today was a good day, but we got a lot of work ahead. There's still many impediments to overcome. And we hope to do that over the next few days and hours.
And hours, he says. So, given that this deal with Russia, or de-escalation with Russia and Ukraine, is still ongoing, it doesn't sound like they have wrapped this up yet. They're trying to wrap it up, but it doesn't sound like we have reached a conclusion yet with the Russia-Ukraine thing, which makes me think today's Oval Office address, which we are all waiting for right now, it makes me think today's Oval Office address is actually not going to be about Russia-Ukraine. I feel like President Trump would not, keep in mind, the Oval Office address that's going to happen, it's a big deal. It's a big time deal. And so, this is his third time doing this ever. And I feel like he would not do this today. He would not have this Oval Office national address unless the Russia-Ukraine deal was done, and it's not. So I think it's got to be about something else. Now, I see somebody in the live chat, they were trash talking dogs. They were saying, listen, we don't care about your dog. Get the dog out of here. I just want to say something real quick. If you don't like dogs, get the hell out of here. You are not welcome. This is a community. This is a broadcast for dog lovers. If you don't like dogs, screw you. Get the hell. I would rather have a dog in my living room than you in my chat. Okay, let's put it that way. Hey, if you don't like dogs, get the hell out. In this community, we love dogs. Everybody here loves dogs. Even if you don't own a dog, that's okay, but at least you have to have love in your heart for the dogs. Okay, this is a community of dog lovers. So, if you don't like dogs, you are not welcome. Goodbye, toodles, hasta luego. Anyway, I'm speaking Spanish. I'm going to get deported, man. Now I'm scared. Okay, let me take a look. What else do we have, guys? We are waiting here. Donald Trump is coming out. President Trump is coming out any minute. Soon enough. We have Stephen Miller 49 minutes ago on the developing financial enforcement mechanism to ensure. Let's play the clip. Take a look.
We talk a lot about the weaponization of the justice system, but we haven't talked as much about the weaponization of the financial system. One of the worst features of the last 4 years under Biden and Democrat rule, but of course it also precedes that too, is the use of banking and access to the financial system to enforce a regime of censorship and political control, right? Like something out of a communist country.
Do you guys remember? Listen, this is just, guys, it is insane to consider how much the country has changed just in the last 9 months. We went from Joe Biden presidency, where you are getting kicked off social media sites. Who here is a conservative American who has been deplatformed or banned or shadow banned or censored at some point in the last 5 years? I think like probably everybody to some degree. I used to stream a lot on Twitch. You guys know Twitch, the video game streaming website. I if you rewind 9 or 10 months ago, this is during election season, Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. I was getting suspended, banned over and over and over again on Twitch because Twitch is a far left tech live streaming website, and I was getting banned. This is one of the reasons why I said, listen, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to start really, trying to go hard on YouTube and now Rumble also, because I was banned on Twitter at one point, getting banned on Twitch, and I see a lot of you guys in the live chat also. So it is insane to consider just how much in the last 9-10 months, even go back more than that, how much the country has changed. People were getting debanked. People were getting banned off every single website in existence. It was Facebook, it was Twitter, it was Twitch, it was YouTube. There were certain topics 4 or 5 years ago. The White House is live. Here we go. Cut it. Here we go. We're doing it live. What is going on? So I'm trying to zoom in here and take a look at what do these big cards say. There's a map of the United States. The official White House page. This is the best we have right now. Okay. Oh, you know what that says? 100 billion. This right here, 100 billion at the top of this one on the left. Okay, folks, this is about the $100 billion Apple investment bringing back tech manufacturing back to the U.S. That is what this is about. Seems like this is not about Russia. Now, I gotta say something here, guys. Listen, my favorite president in all of United States history is Andrew Jackson. I love Andrew Jackson. Of course, Trump, okay, but I love Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson's portrait used to be right here where Ronald Reagan is. Trump changed up the office. Right here where Ronald Reagan is sitting just a couple weeks ago used to be Andrew Jackson. And now Jackson is up here touching the ceiling. He swapped him around. I guess he's feeling like Reagan now these days a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're still waiting for President Trump. He's coming out here pretty soon.
You know this gentleman?
Oh.
Truly great.
I hear him.
Before we begin, I'd like to say a few words about the shooting. Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. You know this gentleman, one of the truly great legends of our time, my book. Before we begin, I'd like to say a few words about the shooting at Fort Stewart in Georgia. As you know, 5 people were seriously wounded and 2 very, very seriously hurt around 11 o'clock this morning. The shooter is now in custody, and the Army Criminal Investigation Division is on site to ensure that the perpetrator of this atrocity, which is exactly what it is, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The entire nation is praying for the victims and their families.
Terrible.
And hopefully they'll fully recover, and we can put this chapter behind, but we're not going to forget what happened. We're going to take very good care of this person that did this, horrible person. This afternoon, we're pleased to welcome to the White House one of the great and most esteemed business leaders and geniuses and innovators anywhere in the world, Apple CEO Tim Cook. It's an amazing job. Thanks as well to Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent and Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick for being here, wherever you may be. Oh, there you are. Hello, fellas. I missed you. Today, Apple is announcing that it will invest $600 billion, that's with a B, in the United States over the next 4 years. That's $100 billion more than they were originally going to invest. And this is the largest investment Apple has ever made in America and anywhere else. And it's just an honor to have you. As you know, Apple's been an investor in other countries a little bit. I won't say which ones, but a couple. And they're coming home. $600 billion. It's the biggest there is. The company is also unveiling its ambitious new American manufacturing program, which will bring factories and assembly lines across our country all roaring to life. Areas that were not doing so well are doing very well. We have about $17 trillion coming into the United States, which is more than ever before. That's never even come close.
It's a lot.
There's never been anything like it. Even you, that's even a lot of money for you. But we have commitments of more than $17 trillion. That was as of a couple of weeks ago. These investments will directly create more than 20,000 brand new American jobs and many thousands more at the Apple suppliers like Corning, Broadcom, Texas Instruments, and Samsung, who all deal in that world. As part of this historic commitment, Apple will massively increase spending on its domestic supply chain for the iPhone and will build the largest and most sophisticated smart glass production line in the world in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, which is a great, actually, I did very well there. I like it because I see I did very well there. I did very well in Kentucky, but it's a great place. You're going to be very happy. I thought maybe while we're up, I'll interrupt my own speech by you might show them a little bit about the product that you're going to be doing in Kentucky, Tim.
Absolutely. Do you mind if I step over
Yes,
here?
please.
This
Here he
glass
goes.
was made in the U.S., California, and this glass comes off the Corning line. It's engraved for President Trump. It's a unique unit of one. It was designed by
His hands are kind of
US
shaky.
Marine Corps corporal, a former one, that works at Apple now.
He's done well.
Designed it for you. And the base comes from Utah and is 24 karat gold.
Whoa.
And it sits, I'll take the liberty of setting it up.
Wow.
Well, let's see. There we go. Congratulations,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
President.
It's
Thank you
fantastic.
so much.
The great people of Kentucky. You're going to find it a
Beautiful.
great place to do business, too.
I can't see it.
It's fantastic.
It's underneath
Isn't that
the thing.
nice? We're doing these things now in the United States instead of other countries, faraway countries. This is a significant step toward the ultimate goal of ensuring that iPhones sold in the United States of America also are made in America. With the mass infusion of capital it's announcing today, Apple will also build a 250,000 square foot server manufacturing facility in Houston and invest billions of dollars to construct data centers across the country from North Carolina to Iowa to Oregon.
That's big.
That's big stuff. Apple
is
will
big.
also open state-of-the-art manufacturing economy. It's going to be a manufacturing academy in Detroit, and that's a great place to do. Well, you know, big things are happening in Michigan and Detroit.
Back in
They're
Detroit.
coming in because of what we've done with the, I call it the Great Big Beautiful Bill. I added one word, great. But we have probably the biggest, most comprehensive piece of legislation ever passed. It's going to mean unbelievable numbers of jobs and no jobs on, think of this, whether it's tips or overtime or Social Security, no tax. So no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. And there's just a small bit of it. For Apple and others businesses, we're talking about the deductions and all of the things. And actually for people that go out and buy a car, first time it's ever been done, we talk about deductions for companies, but they're going to be able to deduct interest when they borrow money to buy a car if it's made in America. It has to be
Oh.
made in America. So it is amazing. And one of the reasons I think
That's a
I can
pretty
say
big
that
deal,
Apple's
too.
coming here is the legislation we just passed with this kind of investment. Apple will also open other facilities, rare earth magnets from Texas, and build, oh, I love that you're doing this. I love that. I love that. And build a brand new rare earth recycling line in Mountain Pass, California. I know that area. That's where they have a lot of truly rare earth. That's fantastic. I love that. And Apple will help develop and manufacture semiconductors and semiconductor equipment in Texas, Utah, Arizona, and New York. For years, Americans have watched as many of our leading tech giants
That's big.
built their factories overseas and exported American jobs abroad. But under the Trump administration, we're doing everything possible to make this the best place on earth to build a factory or grow businesses. I'm allowing them to build electric producing plants with their factory, because otherwise they'd have to hook into the grid. And I think it's one of the biggest things we've done, where you can build, Tim, your own electricity. You become your own electric manufacturer, and that goes along with the plant. So you become a utility So congratulations. Now you're in the utility. I hope they don't value your
gotta be
company
hydro
based
then,
on
right?
utility, but that's okay. You're going to be making your own electricity, and as you probably know, for much of this and many of the things that we're doing, especially the AI, they would need actually double the electricity that the country now produces for everything. So it's massive electric, and they're going to be able to make their own, and they're getting very fast approvals. Lee Zeldin is doing a fantastic job, including with a 100% expensing on the one big, beautiful bill. In return, we're asking our businesses to invest in America, and they're coming in at levels that we've never seen before. So I don't know when it shows up, but there are a lot of factories and a lot of plants that are either under construction or soon will be starting construction. So can't tell you exactly when, but I want to be around in about a year from now and 2 years from now, because we're going to see an explosion, I think, like this country has never seen before. Never. Today's announcement is one of the largest commitments in what has become among the greatest investment booms in our nation's history, and we've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. You know, I told you the story that and Tim, I'll tell you, but I went to the Middle East, and I was with Qatar, I was with UAE and the King of Saudi Arabia, all great leaders. And then I went to NATO and saw many great leaders, and we just finished that about 4 weeks ago. Virtually everyone said, in effect, that we were a dead country 1 year ago. America, this was a dead country. We were dying, we were dead. And now you've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. This would have never happened except for certain people. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. NVIDIA is investing $500 billion to go along with Apple, $600 billion. $600 billion. Micron, great company, is investing $200 billion. IBM is investing more than $150 billion. SoftBank is investing substantially more than $100 billion. TSMC is investing $200 billion. Johnson & Johnson, $55 billion. Merck, Stellantis, and General Motors are putting many, many billions in. They haven't determined the final number. And many other countries are investing tens of billions of dollars, and I'm not going to give you the whole list because the list is too long to read. But it's hundreds of billions and even trillions. I mean, it's trillions of dollars is being invested right now. Last week, it was announced that our economy grew at 3% in the second quarter, and consumer confidence is surging. Blue-collar wages are rising rapidly. Costs are way down. You know, I listen to these horrendous frauds on CNN and various other fake news networks, and they say costs are up. No, costs are down. Gasoline is down. It's going to soon, I believe, be less than $2 a gallon. It's around $2.40 right now, many places, other than California where they tax you out of business, but and a couple of others. But gasoline is way down. The price of groceries are down. How about eggs? When I first came here, my first week, the press hit me very hard on eggs. Eggs had quadrupled or something. I said, I didn't know about it. Give me a chance. I've just been here for 4 days. Well, eggs are down. Everything's down. Price is down. The only thing that's up is stock prices. That's really up, and that's through the roof. The stock market has been hitting all-time records, all-time highs. Last week, it was announced that our economy grew at levels that we haven't seen in a long time, but the real levels of growth are going to be judged in a year from now when you start seeing some of these incredible plants, because we have car plants opening. They're coming in from Canada, from Mexico, and from all over the world. And they're coming in because they like the way the election worked out, but they also like the fact that they don't want to pay tariffs. And the tariffs, I think, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. I won't be so specific other than to say, because we don't even know what the final number is. We just made a deal, as you know, with the EU where they're paying hundreds of billions of dollars. Japan paying hundreds of billions of dollars, and numerous other countries paying hundreds of billions of dollars. And we're not even completed there. And as you know, they found $25 billion 3 weeks ago. They said, we have a surplus of $25 billion. And they said, where did this come from? I said, check the tariffs. And they checked. They said, you're right. That's where it came from. And we've really just started. This is just in its infancy. So we have a great country. We have a country that is going to be very rich. It's a country that we're very proud of, but it's going to be very rich. And it's companies like Apple, they're coming home. They're all coming home. And we want them to come home. They have to come home. We're going to treat them really well. We're going to be putting a very large tariff on chips and semiconductors. But the good news for companies like Apple is if you're building in the United States or have committed to build, without question committed to build in the United States, there will be no charge. In other words, we're not going to be charging. So a lot of countries, a lot of companies are leaving various other places and they're coming to the United States. So in other words, we'll be putting a tariff on of approximately 100% on chips and semiconductors. But if you're building in the United States of America, there's no charge, even though you're building and you're not producing yet in terms of the big numbers of jobs and all of the things that you're building. If you're building, there will be no charge. So I just want everyone to know that. And I didn't even tell you that inside. We discussed the concept, but I didn't. So it's a big factor. So 100% tariff on all chips and semiconductors coming into the United States. But if you've made a commitment to build, or if you're in the process of building, as many are, there is no tariff. Okay? If for some reason you say you're building and you don't build, then we go back and we add it up, it accumulates, and we charge you at a later date. You have to pay, and that's a guarantee. So that's a big statement, and I think the chip companies are all coming back home. They're all coming back. You know, we started with Intel, and gradually Intel was just taken over the coals. They were taken to the cleaners, frankly, and moved to other places, in particular Taiwan. But I think a lot of those companies are coming back, and they're coming back very rapidly. So that's a big statement. 100% tariff. I want to thank you very much, Tim. Would you like to say a few words about your company, please?
Let Tim cook.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. President, thank you very much for having me here today. You've been a great advocate for American innovation and manufacturing, and I'm grateful for your leadership and your commitment. That's a commitment we share at Apple because American innovation is central to everything we do. Our products are designed here, we're hiring and growing here, and we support 450,000 jobs with thousands of suppliers and partners in all 50 states. Earlier this year, we made our largest ever spending commitment, $500 billion to the U.S. over the next 4 years. That's already yielding results. Earlier this year, we broke ground on a new factory in Houston to make advanced AI servers. And just last month, the very first test unit rolled off that factory's line, proudly made in America. President Trump shared some kind words about that work, but he also asked us to think about what more we could commit to doing. And Mr. President, we took that challenge very seriously. I'm glad to be here with you today, and I'm very proud to say that today we're committing an additional $100 billion to the United States, bringing our total U.S. investment to $600 billion over the next 4 years. As a part of this, we're launching Apple's American Manufacturing Program. It will spur even more production right here in America for critical components used in Apple products all around the world. And we're thrilled to announce that we've already signed new agreements with 10 companies across America to do just that. First, with today's announcements, I'm proud to say that Apple is leading the creation of an end-to-end silicon supply chain right here in America, from design to equipment to wafer production to fabrication to packaging.
Wow.
In Texas, we're working with manufacturers like Texas Instruments, Global Wafers America, and Applied Materials. We're working with Amcor in Arizona and Broadcom and Global Foundries in New York. Thanks to President Trump's vision, and with his help in his first term, we also led the way to bring TSMC to Arizona by committing to be their first and largest customer. Today, they're producing tens of millions of chips for Apple using one of the most advanced process technologies in America today. We're going to keep working with our suppliers to move even more of this incredibly advanced work to America. And this year alone, American manufacturers are on track to make 19 billion chips for Apple in 24 factories across 12 different states. Second, we're committed to buying American-made advanced rare earth magnets developed by MP Materials, which will become part of Apple's devices shipped around the world. MP is the only fully integrated rare earth producer in the United States, and with this partnership, they'll be significantly expanding their flagship facility in Fort Worth, Texas. We're also thrilled to work together on a cutting-edge rare earth recycling line in Mountain Pass, California. And third, in Kentucky, we've worked with our partners at Corning to build the world's largest and most advanced smartphone glass production line. And I'm pleased to announce that very soon, this is for the first time ever, every single new iPhone and every single new Apple Watch sold anywhere in the world will contain cover glass made in Kentucky. In addition to the American manufacturing program, we're also significantly growing our investments in AI, including expanding data center capacity in North Carolina, in Nevada, in Iowa, in Arizona, and Oregon. So we're going to keep making investments right here in America. We're going to keep hiring in America. And we're going to keep building technologies at the heart of our products right here in America. Because we're a proud American company, and we believe deeply in the promise of this great nation.
Yeah.
Thank you all, and thank you, President Trump, for putting American
and why
innovation
didn't they do
and
this
American
before
jobs
President
front and
Trump
center.
made them
Thank
do
you,
it?
Sir.
Great honor.
Thank you.
very
Really?
much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. What a job he's done. What a job. Incredible. I want to thank you very much, and thank you, JD, for helping along. Good job. Really good job. Any questions, please?
Mr. President,
Yes.
you promised on the campaign trail to bring forth a manufacturing renaissance. You just mentioned $17 trillion in your first 7 months or so.
Right.
Can you talk about how an investment like this, all the other ones that you laid out, will positively impact the millions of Americans that trusted you with their vote?
Thank you very much. It changes our country. I mean, our country is a very different country than it was 6 months ago. And people like Tim are coming. We had Micron in yesterday. We had all of the big, great companies that you read about, you don't know about, but you read about. Many of them were making products outside of our country. Foolishly, we lost them. If we had the right person sitting in that seat, that would have never happened 20 and 30 years ago. When you look at the chip business, it would have never left our shores. We had 100% of chips originally, and then we slowly got taken down to nothing. We have the biggest chip companies, the both of them, but we have the biggest in the world coming in. They're going to Arizona and beyond. And we're going to have, in a short period of time, we'll be up to almost 50% of the chips from starting in nothing. And that's something. But we have the greatest companies in the world coming into our country. And that means jobs, and it means wealth. And wealth means security for our people. Okay? Brian?
Yes, sir. Congratulations on this investment. President Trump in.
Thank you.
With a great example of putting America first. What does the labor force look like to fill these jobs that you have? Do we have
good
enough
question.
skilled American workers to fill these?
Well, we do have a lot of workers, and we have a lot of workers that hadn't been looking for work because they were disincentivized,
Do not
frankly.
say H-1B. Do not.
And people like Tim have tremendous schools and training centers that they build along with a lot of their big plants where they train people on whether it's glass, like in Kentucky, or computers, or whatever they might be doing. It's a complex world, and they train people, and they do a great job. So it's a whole new workforce. Now, we have a lot of them in energy because, you know, they've always liked energy. As you know, coal has opened up and opened up big. We brought it back and brought it back in a very large way. You know, China's right now building 58 coal-fired plants, 58 big ones. And here we were saying we don't take coal. We have more coal than anybody else in the world. We have more oil and gas than anybody else in the world. But we have tremendous energy jobs, and the energy, as you know, we're booming with energy. And that's why the gasoline prices are down. The costs are down. I just hope when they watch these shows, I watch this, I won't use names because I just make them better known, that nobody knows who they are. But I watch this group of people on CNN and MSDNC too, the same thing, where they say, well, costs have gone up. Costs haven't gone up, they've gone down. I'm telling you, the thing that's gone up is stock prices, and success of our country. Our country is really, really doing well, successful. Yes, ma'am?
Yes, Mr. President.
It is.
Putin and Zelensky agreed to a summit yet? And where and when would that be?
Well, there's a very good prospect that they will. And we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today. And there's a very good chance that we could be ending the round, ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon. Excuse me?
How close do you think you are to some kind of deal?
Well, I don't want to say. I've been disappointed before with this one. You know, we've solved 5 wars, plus add to that Iran, where we wiped out their nuclear capacity for weapons. They would have had a weapon within 2 months, maybe less, and that was totally obliterated. It turned out it was a total obliteration, and the pilots and the people that did that job are really, we have the greatest armed forces in the world, but that was really something. In fact, there's a model of the plane right there. So, you got to bring that up, Susie. We have to see that. Look at this. This was just given to me. You know, we ordered brand new B-2 bombers. This is a plane that over a period of 36 hours of constant flying. Look at this. So this is the brand new one they just ordered. Similar, but actually quite different. It's new and enhanced. It's an amazing machine. It went 36 hours. We had 52 tankers up in the air loading up our planes because this was surrounded by F-22s and F-35s, and it was flawless, Tim. Even you would say it was flawless. And every one of those bombs hit their target. And then we had Tomahawks shot in from a submarine 300 miles away, and they hit every single Tomahawk hit its target. It was amazing. And that was a big threat. That was a nuclear threat. And here's the new one that we just ordered, a large number of them. I'll put it up.
Mr. President, what was the breakthrough today? Did Vladimir Putin make some kind of concession that he hasn't been willing to make before?
I don't call it a breakthrough. I mean, we've been working on this a long time. There are thousands of young people dying, mostly soldiers, but also, you know, missiles being hit into Kiev and other places. But in terms of soldiers, I think Russia's lost over 20,000 since the beginning of the year. 20,000. And I guess the estimate for Ukraine is about 9,000. It's a terrible situation. We want to get it stopped. You know, we don't have American soldiers there, but I feel I have an obligation to get it stopped. This was not my war. This war would have never started, not even a chance. And it didn't start for 4 years. It went 4 years and didn't start. But this is Biden's war. This was on his watch.
A lot more than that.
And, you know, it's funny. We had no land was taken from Trump. It was taken from Bush. It was taken from Biden. The whole thing they would take from Biden if it weren't for us. But it was and it was taken by Obama. Take a look at what was taken with all of the land that was taken. Nothing was taken by Russia from us. Not 1 ounce of land was taken. I'm here to get the thing over with. It would have never started if I were president. And we're here to get it stopped and get the death stopped. Yeah, please.
President, in the past, you said you would know if Putin was passing you along. What gives you any confidence that he is or isn't doing that this time around?
Can't answer the question yet. I'll tell you in a matter of weeks, maybe less. But we've made a lot of progress. And as you know, we put a 50% tariff on India on oil. They're the second largest. They're very close to China in terms of the purchase of oil from Russia. But so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But we've had very productive talks today. Yes, ma'am.
President Trump, on federalizing D.C., are you considering taking over the D.C. police? Is that an option on the table?
We're considering it, yeah,
He should do
because
it.
the crime is
He should
ridiculous.
do it now.
I could show you a chart comparing D.C. to other locations, and you're not going to want to see what it looks like. It was just up on television, actually, they were showing it. Now, we want to have a great, safe capital, and we're going to have it. And that includes cleanliness and it includes other things. We have a capital that's very unsafe. You know, we just almost lost a young man, beautiful, handsome guy that got the hell knocked out of him.
Big balls.
The night before last. And I'm going to call him now. We wanted to give him a little recovery time. We just put a call into him. They're calling back in a little while, but he went through a bad situation, to put it mildly, and there's too much of it. We're gonna do something about it. So whether you call it federalized or what, and that also includes the graffiti that you see, the papers all over the place, the roads that are in bad shape, the medians that are falling down, the median in between roads that's falling down. We're going to beautify the city. We're going to make it beautiful. And what a shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else, we're not going to let it. And that includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too.
Federalize it.
Congress to look at
Do it.
overturning the D.C. Home Rule Act?
We're going to look at that. In fact, the lawyers are already studying it. We have to run D.C. This has to be the best-run place in the country, not the worst-run place in the country. And it has so much potential. And we're going to take care of it. You're going to be safe. You're going to be safe walking down streets. You're not going to get mugged.
Mr. President, if you do reach a deal with Ukraine and Russia, would you drop the additional tariffs on India?
Well, we'll determine that later. But right now they're paying a 50% tariff. Okay.
Yeah, please. One for Mr. Cook as well. On
Yeah, please. Sure.
The president wants a made in the USA iPhone. What are the chances that you can actually make that happen?
Well, if you look at the bulk of it, we're doing a lot of the semiconductors here. We're doing the glass here. We're doing the Face ID module here. And so there's a ton of it. And we're doing these for products sold elsewhere in the world. And so there's a lot of content in there from the United States.
But what about the whole thing?
We're very proud of it.
Can you make the whole thing
is
here?
just the final assembly that you're focused on. And that will be elsewhere for a while.
He makes many of the components here, and we've been talking about it, and the whole thing is set up at other places, and it's been there for a long time. So in terms of cost and all, but I think we may incentivize him enough that one day he'll be bringing that. But he brings most of the stuff. Look, he's not making this kind of an investment anywhere in the world, not even close. He's coming back. I mean, Apple's coming back to America. Thank you.
We got to have a big Made in America with an American flag on the back of this thing.
Let me go, please.
Indian officials have said that there are other countries that are buying Russian oil.
It's okay.
Like China, for instance,
It's
buys
okay.
more.
Yeah.
Why are you singling India out for these additional sanctions?
It's only been 8 hours. So let's see what happens over the next.
Sanctions
you're going to see a lot more.
So this is a taste of
You're
what's
going to
to
see a
come.
lot more. You're going to see so much secondary sanctions. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, you were the driving force behind Operation Warp Speed, these mRNA vaccines that are the gold standard.
Right.
Now your health secretary is pulling back all the funding for research. He's saying that the risks outweigh the benefits, which puts him at odds with
Research
the
on
entire
what?
medical community and with you. What is going on
Research on what?
into mRNA vaccines?
Well, we're going to look at that. We're talking about it, and they're doing a very good job. And, you know, that is a pass. Operation Warp Speed was, whether you're Republican or Democrat, considered one of the most incredible things ever done in this country. The efficiency, the way it was done, the distribution, everything about it has been amazing. But, you know, that was now a long time ago.
Give me a one if you
we're
are
onto
a
other
pure
things,
blood.
But we are speaking about it. We have meetings about it in tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and we'll determine. We're looking for other answers to other problems, to other sicknesses and diseases, and I think we're doing really well. Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said many times that you want to stop wars in the Middle East. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu is contemplating reoccupying Gaza entirely. Is he defying you, sir, or are you giving him a green light?
Well, we have stopped wars in the Middle East by stopping Iran from having a nuclear weapon, and they're You know, they can say they're going to start all over again, but that's a very dangerous thing for them to do, because we'll be back. As soon as they start, we'll be back. And I think they understand that. They're just words. But no, we've stopped a lot of wars in the Middle East. If you think about what we did with Iran, Iran was the perpetrator of hate, a very evil place, and I think it's going to be a lot different in the coming years.
Mr. President, on the India penalties, do you have any similar plans to enact more tariffs on China as it relates
Could
to
happen.
their purchases?
Could happen. Depends on how we do. Could happen. Brian?
Yes, I've got an entertainment-based question for you. A few weeks ago, Stephen Colbert announced that he was leaving his show. Howard Stern announced that him and Sirius XM Radio are parting ways. Do you think the hate Trump business model that's been in the entertainment business is going out of business because it's not popular with the American people?
Well, it hasn't worked, and it hasn't worked really for a long time, and I would say pretty much from the beginning. Colbert has no talent. I mean, I could take anybody here, I could go outside in the beautiful streets and pick up a couple of people that do just as well or better. They get higher ratings than he did. He's got no talent. Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going. I don't know, but I would imagine because they get, you know, Colbert has better ratings than Kimmel or Fallon. You know that. Howard Stern, it's a name I haven't heard. I used to do a show, we used to have fun, but I haven't heard that name in a long time. What happened? He got terminated?
Yeah, they're going to separate ways because I think what happened salary-wise is real low than what he's getting.
You know when he went down?
Whenever you want.
You know when he went down? No, before. When he endorsed Hillary Clinton, he lost his audience. People said, give me a break. He went down when he endorsed Hillary Clinton.
Mr. President, have you talked to Governor Cuomo? Started interviewing Fed candidates yet?
Yeah, we've started the interviewing process. Scott and I and Howard, a lot of people, JD, we have some great candidates. It's probably down to 3. He doesn't want the job. He said, do you like this job better?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he was a candidate, but I don't think he'll take it. I really don't think he'd take it, actually.
Are there any candidates from Wall Street, Mr. President?
Yeah, essentially we're all from Wall Street, aren't we? You know, when you get right down to it, the term Wall Street. Yeah, please.
Yep, you made your tax cuts permanent. You mentioned that the tariffs are bringing in a ton of external revenue. You've opened up markets, the EU, Japan, South Korea, many others, to American goods like we've never seen before. How much growth can we expect in the economy now that this model of yours is sort of beginning to really take off?
Well, I think the growth is going to be unprecedented. I think we're going to have growth that's unbelievable. Now, remember, we're building and just starting to build a lot of these incredible plants. We talked about the electric facilities that we're building, the generating plants, electric generating plants are massive, and they're going to be great, and they're going to sell excess electricity into our grid. So we're going to be having much more electricity than we ever had, and those plants are going to be taken care of individually. I know Tim is building one in one of his big factories, but especially for AI because it needs so much electricity. So I appreciate the question very much, and I think the growth is going to be unprecedented.
Mr. President, did you have a phone call with Andrew Cuomo? Did you speak to Andrew Cuomo?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Mr. President, have you been briefed on what Ghislaine Maxwell told Todd Blanche?
No, I haven't.
Have so you don't know whether
I
it
don't
came
know.
up in the
I know Todd is a
conversation or
very
not?
respected person all over the country, all over the world legally, so I don't know.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
He doesn't know.
That governor would be temporary?
We're probably going to go with a temp and then a permanent, I think.
Are the two
So the temp is going to be named, I'd say, over the next 2-3 days, and then we're going to go permanent.
Are the two Kevins the leading contenders for the permanent spot for the chair?
Well, the two Kevins? The two Kevins are absolutely, yeah. They're both very good.
Mr. President.
The two Kevins, it's very good.
Mr. President, is Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think
there was a report that they were doing that.
Reported today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the
There you
Democrats
go.
because we've
Yeah.
had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country. And that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit. Okay? Yeah, please.
A new Gallup poll says that
He doubles
Elon
down, he
Musk is
triples
the
down.
most unpopular public
Is that
figure in the
enough?
country right now. I'm wondering, do you miss having him around the White House, or is that poll accurate?
I don't know if the poll's accurate. I think he's a good person. I think he had a bad moment, really bad moment. But he's a good person. I believe that.
President Trump, are you keeping that 10 to 12 day deadline?
China facing potential secondary sanctions for
Yeah.
Russian oil. Them having that tariff or sanction rather or not hinges on what going forward.
It may happen. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you yet, but we did it with India. We're doing it probably with a couple of others. One of them could be China. Yes.
Are you keeping that 10 to 12 day deadline that you had given Russia after today's talks?
Yeah, we're pretty much getting close to it right now, but we're having very serious talks right now about getting out of Ukraine, getting it settled, getting it ended. Should have never started, would have never started. If I were president, it would have never started. I want to thank Tim Cook. He's a great, great man, a visionary, a businessman, just about every quality he can have other than athleticism. I don't know about that. I'm looking at him. I'm not 100% sure about you. You're a good athlete. I'll bet you're pretty good. I think he's good at everything, but I want to thank you very much, Tim. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks, guys.
There it is. I think they're wrapping this one up. I just want to make sure we have concluded. I think so. Well, yeah, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I think we all know at this point. So the big topic of today's event was Apple is reshoring a bunch of its manufacturing back here to the U.S. to avoid tariffs. Really, to avoid tariffs. That's the reason why, because Trump has been tariffing the living hell out of China, Southeast Asia, Malaysia, and India now, as of this morning, 50% tariffs. Apple doesn't want anything to do with that, and so they're bringing back manufacturing. You know, Tim Cook got up there and said, it's because we love America. Well, like, I don't really know about that. I kind of doubt that. I think it actually probably has more to do with the fact that now it's just not really a financial option for you to keep on manufacturing outside of the U.S. We have to acknowledge, for the last 30 or 40 years, our incompetent American leadership has been allowing not only the American manufacturing sector to be completely hollowed out, costing hundreds of thousands, millions of American jobs here in America, good paying jobs, union jobs here in this country. But we've also then been shipping them across the Pacific over to a country like China, who is just like diametrically opposed to us, everything we stand for, our entire way of life. And also we've known for a long time that China is just slowly building up. It's like they're charging up. They're charging up. We know what their long-term goal is. We know that they want to first off take Taiwan and then project out across the Pacific. So we have been effectively subsidizing the growth of our country's biggest enemy, really is the proper way to look at this. Totally incompetent leadership that has led to this, that has facilitated this. And really, Trump is pretty much the first American president ever in decades, at least in generations, to step up and say, no, listen, this is incompetent. This is stupid. We need to stop, paying for the growth of our enemy. We need to stop subsidizing the growth of this country that hates us and has us in the crosshair long term. And they do. And so, great. That's good. That's good. Finally, we are not allowing American companies to sell out America in the pursuit of globalistic profit. Finally, we're shutting that down. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to be a wrap. Obviously, this was not so much about Russia. This was about the Apple deal, bringing back manufacturing. Guys, we are bringing in last month in July, this country, as a consequence of President Trump's tariffs, we generated $29 billion in tariffs for the first time. Guys, last month, we also saw our national deficit decrease by 16%. We are shrinking our deficit. We need to shrink that down all the way. We just did it last month. We brought it down by 16%. If we want to actually start paying off our national debt, we have to shrink the deficit down to zero. Then we'll have a surplus, and then we can actually pay off the debt. So we are making the small steps to actually make that a reality, really as a consequence of President Trump's economic policies, which are working very, very well, frankly, despite all the odds, all of the liberal economists saying, oh, it's never going to work, oh, it's going to be terrible. Well, actually, everything is just going perfectly, really. If you want to talk about the economy, at least. There are other areas of improvement, of course, but the economy is going very well. Also, I mean, you have the Chinese national security threat. Of course, we talked about how this dynamic unfolded during COVID, the early days of COVID, where this pandemic is sweeping across the country. Here in the US, also in Europe, we need medicine. We need hazmat suits. We need masks. We need toilet paper. We need ventilators for people in the hospital. Where do we get all of that stuff? Who makes all of that stuff for us? Guess what? China makes all of that stuff. Well, in the early days of the COVID pandemic, China said, guess what? We need it more for ourselves here in China, China first. So we're not going to be selling this stuff to you. Sorry, America, go screw yourself. Sorry, Europe, go screw yourselves. It's for us, China first, baby. And so we were left high and dry. This was a very clear example. Listen, wow, maybe it's actually not such a good idea to be completely dependent and reliant on Chinese manufacturing, because if shit ever hits the fan, sorry, apologize for my language, but if shit ever hits the fan, God forbid there's a war or some type of military conflict or a pandemic like we saw, we're screwed. Western Europe is screwed. And so I think everybody is kind of realizing, listen, China is a bad faith actor. They're economically predatory. They've been economically predatory and manipulative and disingenuous for decades now. It's a national security threat. It's an economic problem, of course, but really it's fundamentally a national security threat. We have to pivot away from China. And so this has been a massive component of President Trump's economic policies, his tariffs, his trade negotiations. You'll notice every country that he tries to make a deal with over the last couple months, Europe, the Persian Gulf nations, Latin American nations, whatever, even countries in Africa, part of the deal he's making with all of these countries is, listen, we want you to realign with us and pivot away from China. So right now, one of President Trump's massive economic goals is to really globally isolate China. Trump knows that China's entire economy it's an export economy. They are dead. They have nothing if they can't export their cheap Chinese plastic crap across the entire world. And so Trump is saying, listen, if we want to really do damage to China, and we do because we know what their goals are long term, we know what they want to do. They want to take Taiwan. They want to project down into Southeast Asia. They want to project themselves into Canada and Latin America, which is in direct contradiction with our Monroe Doctrine. The Western Hemisphere, this is our hemisphere. Whatever happens in Latin America, North America, that's our business. China has no right having a presence in Canada or Greenland or the Panama Canal or all these Latin American countries. That's our backyard. China got to get the hell out. And so China is the threat of America in the 21st century. President Trump correctly has realized that. President Trump's entire agenda, his geopolitical agenda and his economic agenda, is targeted directly at China. When you're asking yourself, why did Trump do this? Or why did Trump do that? Why this? If you think, oh, it's because he's thinking about China, okay? And shutting down China or blocking off China or isolating China, right? That really is one of his current guiding principles. If you look at all of this stuff that's happening around the world through the lens of China, how does this impact China? I think a lot of this stuff is going to make a lot more sense to you guys. You're going to really understand why he's doing a lot of the stuff he's doing. Now, folks, listen, normally we do a 1 hour show. Today I don't even know how long we've been live today. How long? I don't even know. I can't even tell. About 2 hours. So guys, I'm going to wrap up the show. I want to say thank you all very much for tuning in. Matt Morse TV on Rumble, Matt Morse TV on Twitter. The best place to be to follow along with everything that is going on, all the updates. If I'm going to miss a day, if we're going to go live early like we did today, if there's any new information, whatever, any changes, whatever, the best place to be is Matt Morse TV on Twitter. Do me a favor, everybody follow on Twitter or on X. It would help a ton. I'm spamming the link out everywhere. Everybody, thank you all very much. I appreciate this, guys. I will be back tomorrow. Of course, I'm trying to be here every single day of the week now these days. I want to be here so much, you're going to get sick of me. So thank you, guys. Have a great Wednesday evening. Have a great Monday morning. We'll be back for another live broadcast tomorrow. I really appreciate you guys. We have the #1 community, Rumble and YouTube, in the world. Thank you, guys. And